the Daily Go Getter show. You think it ain't when it is? You think it won't when it whiz? We are here and we are in motion. We do this thing, taking off fast lane, no coasting, and everything is going to be all right. We talking about groups versus bands tonight. We talking about bands versus groups tonight. We talking about musicians versus singers tonight. What's up? What's up, y'all? How y'all feeling tonight? Friday night. Y'all know Friday music night Fridays. Music night Fridays. Y'all know how we do. So we got a goodie for y'all tonight. Tonight we talking about bands versus groups. Bands versus groups. And no, bands and groups are not the same. They can be the same, but they're not. A band is a group of musicians. They can play instruments. They have an integral role in the group. So each band member can play an instrument. So you may have someone on the strings, you may have someone on percussion, you may have someone on drums, you may have a lead vocalist, or you may not have a lead vocalist. In a group, everybody sings. Nobody plays an instrument. They may play an instrument, but that's not their purpose in that group. They may harmonize. They may write their own songs. They may produce their own songs. A lot of times they don't. A lot of times they, just being honest, a lot of times they don't. And if they do write their own songs, a lot of times they don't produce their own songs or get credit for it. Bands normally get credit for writing and producing their own songs. They normally have been writing their own songs or covering a band. And we can get into what a cover band is later. Well, I could just tell you now. When a cover band is just a band that plays instruments, but they don't write their own songs. They do songs that were pre-written by others, pre-written and performed by others. So like when Phil Collins did Don't Hurry Love, that was originally a song by the Supremes and he just remade it. But that's what a cover band does. They don't write any of their own songs. So they have plenty of cover bands around the country or around the world that do nothing but cover songs by a particular band. So they may be considered a tribute band or a tribute cover band. Rolling Stones has one. Beatles has a lot of them. They may just be a band that really love the music of one particular group or band or whatever, and they know other people love that stuff, and they get booked for shows. Rarely do they ever make albums because their whole albums would be cover songs. It can be done. I haven't known it to be done. I haven't known, but you know what? Yes, I have. You know who does nothing but cover songs and they have made albums? The group Sha Na Na. The group Sha Na Na. Da 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 dome. Good night, sweetheart. Yeah, it's time to go. Da 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 da. Remember Bowser? Ugh. All right, but tonight on the Daily Go Getter show, we are talking about bands versus groups. Bands versus groups. So I don't care how far back you want to go. We can talk about bands. We can talk about groups. Now, like I said, bands are musicians. They're a group of musicians. Everybody plays a particular instrument, and you may or may not have a lead singer, or lead singer and background singers. Sometimes band members sing background. Sometimes they don't. In a group, everybody sings. It's just a group of singers. Sometimes they write their own songs. Many times they don't. Like the groups on Motown. Motown didn't have any bands probably until either the Jackson 5 or the Isley Brothers. The Isley Brothers were on Motown at first. I'm sure plenty of y'all know that, but yeah. one of the reasons that a lot of artists didn't want to be on Motown anymore was because they didn't get a chance. Berry Gordy would not allow them to write their own songs, which means that they were not allowed to make as much money as they would have made it. They would have made had they wrote their own songs and gotten their royalties from and their publishing from writing a song. So, and Berry Gordy, for all that he did for the world musically, he took from his artists because they weren't allowed to make no money. They weren't allowed to make no money. So what we're going to do tonight is what we do every Friday night. So we're going to name some bands and we're going to name some groups and we're going to name, we're going to talk about what they do well and what they don't do well and which one is better than the other. What's better? Who's better? Bands or groups? Now, personally, you may say, a band is better than a group because they play instruments and they have more diversity and versatility. You can say that, but you may know some groups that had more hits, sold more records. For example, a couple of weeks ago, we did Boyz II Men versus Jodeci, right? Now, out of bands and groups, Boyz II Men has sold more than any band or any group. That's just what it is. They've sold more than any band or any group, R&B wise, because they didn't sell more than the Beatles. They didn't do that. They didn't do that. They didn't do that. And when you really think about it, like, how did Boyz II Men sell more records than any other R&B group? Like, you think about some of the great R&B groups, like they sold more than Parliament. Mm-hmm. They sold more than the Isley Brothers. Mm-hmm. They sold more than the Jackson 5. Mm-hmm. Wait. They sold more than Earth, Wind and Fire. Mm-hmm. Fatback. Mm-hmm. Brass Construction. Mm-hmm. Mandrill. Mm-hmm. Bootsy Collins and them. Mm-hmm. So, we can say that musically, or we can say our preference is bands. Just for an example, I'm not saying that your preference is one or the other, not yet. But there's enough proof out there to go towards the bands being more superior. But for this argument, for this discussion, for this debate tonight, bands versus groups. Are y'all ready? I am ready. Are y'all ready? I am ready. Where my people at? T. Carey Wright, morning, noon, and night. It's always great to have my peoples going directly into your site. And Human Old Crow, what up? What up? And Carla. It's so good to see Cheryl Halsey coming on through. Cheryl Halsey, what's good with the new name? But it's all good. I see you. And Samantha Parker. Do you all? I don't know what that means. And something tells me I'm probably glad that I don't know what that means. I don't know what it is. But something tells me it's probably better that I don't know what that is than I do know what it is. So it's all good. It's all good. We talking about bands versus groups. 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 Bands versus. Bands versus groups. 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 Hit the like button. Bands versus groups. 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 Bands versus. Bands versus groups. Bands versus. Bands versus groups. Bands versus groups. What y'all like? Bands versus groups. Bands versus groups. Bands versus groups. Bands versus. Bands versus groups. 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 Bands versus. We gonna do the damn thing because it's bands versus groups. Bands versus groups. Bands versus groups. Bands versus groups. Bands versus. Bands versus groups. Bands versus. Bands versus groups. Bands versus groups. Bands versus groups. Bands versus. What's your favorite group, baby? What's your favorite? What's your favorite band? Band, band, band. What's your favorite group? What's your favorite? What's your favorite group? What's your favorite? What's your favorite band? What's your favorite band? What's your favorite band? What's your What's your favorite band? 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 Name your favorite band. Name your favorite band. Hey, hey, hey. What's your favorite group? Sing that song right through. What's your favorite group? Snoop Dogg with that. What's your favorite band? What's your favorite? What's your favorite band? Let me ask you a question. And can't a band be a group? Can't a group be a band? Did you think there was a difference? Can you name that plan? I am ready. I hope y'all are too. We gonna do what we came to do. Yeah, yeah. All right, let's go, y'all. Let's go, baby. Are you ready? I said, are you ready? Bands versus groups, baby. That's how it's going down tonight. That's what we doing. That's how we setting it off. That's what it is tonight. Friday night daily go getimism show. It's the daily. It's the daily go getimism show. You think it ain't when it is? You think it won't when it whiz? We are here and we are in motion. We do this thing, taking all fast lane, no coasting, and everything is gonna be all right. We talking about bands versus groups tonight. All right, so I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna grab my seat and we can start having this conversation. Please hit the like button. It helps out the show. The show needs help. I'm sorry. It helps out the channel. The channel needs help. I'm asking you for help. I ain't gonna ask you for nothing else. I promise. I promise. Oh shit. Love from Milwaukee. My second home, Milltown, all up in the place to be. Fine lwad. What's up with y'all? What's going on? What side of Milwaukee are you from? Do you know my peoples? Do you know my peoples? The Games family? From the mill? From the mill? I know the mill streets very well. I know the mill very well. As a matter of fact, we have a family reunion this year. So I think I'll probably be heading up Milwaukee this summer. I haven't been back since 2024. So that was 2 years ago that I was back, and I'll be back this year. West Lawn Projects, baby. West Lawn Projects. Look, we went to Milwaukee so many times. You know, I spent so much time there as a kid growing up and all of that. When I try to tell people that I'm really from Philly, they be like, nah, stop lying. Don't, you ain't gotta lie. You ain't, you know what I mean? You was born in Milwaukee, you moved to Philly. Like, no, I was born in Philly. I visited Milwaukee because that's where my people live at. Shout out to the Milltown, baby. Shout out to the mill. Shout out to the mill. Capitol Court. Capitol Court. You know, one thing I love about Milwaukee, you can always get yourself a really good burger. Hold on. My mellow, what it look like when you're on the mic? Yo, sucking MCs, don't try to bite. What's going on, my dude?
I'm on the phone talking about my man while he's at home. I'm not alone. I'm just sitting in here, chilling in the bed, getting ready to talk about bands and groups there.
Ooh.
I'm talking about the EWF, LTD, and then what's this mess?
Woo.
I got the police. Journey and people.
Woo!
I'm not going to tell you no more. They're not my equal.
Ooh, he's spitting. You spitting. That what you been practicing?
Practice. I've been around you a lot, bro.
Okay. All right. Shit coming out. I'm liking this. I'm liking the way this is going down early.
I needed to become a G. Because, you know, I ain't an O until I get in 4 more years, I'll be a G. I get the O. I get the O. I'm just an O. I get the G.
That's what I'm talking about. My brother coming through. He getting lyrics. Y'all hear them bars? He dropping bars on them, son. Yeah, my brother coming through. He dropping bars on them.
I'm not freestyling. I'm style freeing.
Ooh. Styling for free. Ooh. I thought we was gonna have to pay for that. You know what I mean? Or the other kind of free. No, it ain't chained down. You know, let it go. Let it go. You know what I'm saying? So how you feeling tonight, man? What's going on? How's everything?
All I want to say is, yeah.
Yo, say that then. Say that.
All my family in the chat just want to say, how
That's what I'm talking about. All right, so tonight we talking about bands versus groups. Bands versus groups. So, you know, all right, gun to your head. Which one is better? Which do you prefer? A band or a group? Gun to your head. Gun to your head, side. Gun. Gun to the dome. Band or a group? Band or a group?
I have to go with the bands. I have to go with the bands.
You know what? You know what? I would normally go with bands too. But tonight I'm going to go with groups. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to go with groups because with a band, they might not be able to set up as easily as a group. I can put the group on the bus or a train or plane, and all I got to do is have a record ready. They can sing over it. With the band, man, and transporting them and getting them there and getting them set up and all of that, it's going to cost a little bit more, and it's going to be a little bit more work. So
you do know that's what changed. That's what changed Soul Train from being a live act to them singing with them lip syncing.
Well, that doesn't make no sense because that was TV. They should have been able to afford that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was just greed and being cheap.
Yeah.
So from my point of view, now there could have been other reasons for it. You know what I mean? But
Barry White brought his band in and tore that thing up.
Listen, when you hear a band play, even before the singer get into it, a band can be rocking. You know what I mean? You hire a band for an event, a party, an anniversary, a wedding, or whatever. They gonna rock all night and take requests. You know what I'm saying? A group may not be able to do that as well, but a band would be, especially if it's a band that knows how to read music. If they're really talented like that, unstoppable. But I'm just and I'm only taking groups for tonight. You know what I mean? Because the group is just the singers. A group is a band of singers where they have their instruments. They're strapped with their instruments 24/7. Now there can be some pitfalls or some challenges that a group may have. Like if they've been singing, on a rigorous tour schedule, night in and night out, they may not be able to sing as well night in and night out. You understand what I mean? They need time to rest their voice where a band wouldn't need to do that. You understand? So there are advantages and there are disadvantages as well. And this is just my point of view. I can't say which one is better. I can just say which one I'm choosing tonight. Any other night, I would pick bands. But tonight, I'm gonna let the groups rock out.
Well, I mean, I chose bands because the versatility is live. There's no there can be nothing. They're authentic. There's no fakeness with it. You know what I mean? You don't have there's no, it's all just there, straight in your face. You know what I mean? So, that's why I chose band. Interesting
comments by Legend of Steel. He says almost every band or group or artist are so overproduced, it's not even music anymore. I'm glad you said that because earlier in the show, I was talking about how a lot of bands had left Motown or didn't want to be on Motown anymore after the glamour and glitz wore off because Berry Gordy would not let them write or produce their own songs. So that had a very direct impact on how much money they could make because they couldn't get no publishing.
And that's exactly why he didn't want them producing their own songs because he couldn't make the money off their backs.
Yeah, I mean, for all he did good, for what he did good for the public, he robbed his artists. And it's funny how people don't talk about that. Like, yo, he ain't let his artists make no money. So if they didn't go on tour, that was on the, and he controlled them on tour. He might have been the first dude with the 360 deal.
Between him and Gamble and Huff, I don't know about all the other ones, but them when we talking about our people,
Stax,
you hear the stories.
Can't forget Stax.
Yeah, Stax Records too. Yeah, when you talk about all three of those companies, you hear some of the stories, especially like the one with Mary Wells, and she went through court. A lot of artists went through court against Gamble and Huff, Motown, Stax. Still fighting for publishing and fighting for royalties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know,
like I said, imagine having a #1 hit all around the world. You touring all around the world. You ain't making no money. You coming back to the projects like New Edition.
They say it together. Shit, the only thing they got was both bikes and then VCRs off of major hits. Off their first album, major hits.
Okay. Legend of Steel says
we got to shout out Carla because Carla called us her favorite group. Gotta shout that out.
That's what I'm talking about. Legion of Steel said, I'm sorry, I said his name wrong first. I said Legend of Steel. Legion of Steel said, mostly a metalhead, and it's no different in rock and metal. I'm 23 and started collecting records for the old sound. Everything just sounds the same, and there's no balls or personality to anything. So he must be talking about the music of today. And you know, it's sad, but it's true. But you know, since I listen to more modern hip hop and I don't know. There aren't any new bands or groups in hip hop and R&B. It's like it's an extinct art, and it's sad. There will always be bands for metal and rock and roll. Because it has to be. Because it has to be. It's about the music. With hip hop and R&B, unfortunately, they allow themselves to be overtaken by the digital age. AI now anybody, you can just make your own. It's bad out here. It's bad out here, and it's going to get worse.
Only AI I like is Allen Iverson. All that other shit I can't stand.
True indeed, sir. True indeed. So this is what we're going to do tonight. We're going to talk about some aspects of bands, and we're going to talk about some aspects of groups. And what we can do is we can pick a category and decide who wins in that category. And now a lot of this stuff is going to be opinion. Some of it will be based on actual data or factual things. But we can do it like that. So okay, let's talk about a category we can talk about first is versatility. Who would win out between a band and a group?
Well, me, I think a band would. Like I said, I think both of us agree that a band would win out because of, you know, they're a band. They can switch their pitch up, especially a great band, a band that can just sit back and they can play their music. And even if they want to switch up and play somebody else's music and do one of their songs, let's say Earth, Wind, and Fire is doing one of their shit, and just switch up and say, you know what, let's just throw in some Osley Brothers and bring Ron Osley out unexpectedly. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I mean, the versatility is right there where a group could do the same thing, but it's not as authentic. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's not as real. I mean, it's real, but it's not as real because you got to play his music. You know what I mean? You can play the music track, but that band, that boom bap, them horns, the synthesizers, the pianos, all that shit, boy, you can't beat it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Let's link up. Think about Earth, Wind, and Fire. Got the song. What is it? Golden. What is it? Sun Goddess. We'll play you. Ba, ba, ba. Ain't no. It's barely. The only thing you got. You ain't hearing really no lyrics. Throughout the song, it's just. You like what the shit is banging.
Well. But I think a song like that, a group would be able to do.
they'll be able to do it, but not with a band.
No. What I'm saying is they would be able to just do that the vocal part a cappella, and if they were really skilled like that, they could murder that. Because
it's only a certain amount of people that can do that, and I think it's only one group that can really knock it out. It's two. That's Take Six and Boys to Men.
Well,
something like that.
Okay, so here's what I'm trying to say. I don't want to limit anything to just signed groups or bands that we know of. What I'm talking about is because there's a diamond in the rough somewhere that we never heard, we never saw, and we never knew about. So what I'm saying is, if a group had come out, like you see what Boys to Men did when they auditioned for Michael Bivins, you know what I mean? They did "Can You Stay in the Rain," right, and killed that. So imagine a band, auditioning for you, doing your song and doing your song better than your band or your group did your song. And they're definitely singers somewhere out there in the world better than the people who just did your song better than your group did. So I agree with you that the band is more versatile, but I think that I'm looking for something that a group can do that a band probably couldn't do, and something that a band can do that a group probably couldn't do. Now we may still, we
can always, if you Google groups, they'll bring in bands with it. It's not like one needs the other. Even though it's a band with a group, they're still pretty much just a group. It's just that they're a band.
Okay.
If you take away the instruments and you just use the background music, that's what makes them a group. But with a band, you still need the authenticity of the voice. You still need the group of singers. You know what I mean? So there's when you see there's a difference. You know what I mean? Because I was trying to see what's the difference. Because it's a group that you can consider a group, but they play instruments.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
All right. Wait. Explain that again.
Okay. I'm going to give an example. Guy is a group. Is a band. It's considered a group though, but it's really a band because you have a drummer, you have a person that plays. You got a synthesizer, and he also does the voice, the voice modulator thing.
Well, no,
they're a band.
They were absolutely a band.
They were absolutely a band.
They weren't a group.
Yeah, but when you hear people present them, they don't present them as guy. And some people look at them as a group. They don't think of them as a band.
And that's okay.
Because when you think of
it's okay.
You think of a band.
Well, all right.
When you think of a band, you think of more than just a drum, a synthesizer, and a voice machine.
Right.
You don't think of just that. You know what I mean?
Bands.
Plus, you got to also remember that they're playing the backdrop of some parts of their music.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Bands can always be a group. Groups can't always be a band. So we're being technical with it tonight. But the average listener, if they see more than one person, then they call it a group. Even if it's just a duo. You know what I'm saying? So with the average listener is just, counting the people that are performing. or counting the number of people on the album or the record. So if they see more than one, they say group. If they see just one, then they say no, it's just a solo artist. So I get it. And, you know, sometimes a solo artist has named their band after them. So Prince was a band, but it was called Prince. And then, you know, later on, he had it on the Revolution and all of that. It wasn't that before. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The band was Prince. Same thing with Rick James. It was just Rick James. Then it was the Stone City Band. You know what I'm saying? So bands can always be a group, but a group can't always be a band because you have to play instruments in order to be a band. So if you have all vocalists in your group, then I mean you can say that you're a band because y'all play instruments, but if y'all don't play instruments as a group in your music, then you're just you're a group. So like I said, I'm thinking of some things that a group might be able to do that a band may not be able to do. Now, one of the things that a band may be able to do that a group wouldn't be able to do, which is obvious, is play instruments. And play instruments without music. So, I'm sorry, play instruments without vocals and still rock. Plenty of bands can do that. You know, plenty of bands can do that. You know, sometimes the instruments serve as the vocals. You know, I've even seen soloists knock out a song. You know, like that dude who plays that funky ass violin. He be killing shit. The boy on the internet, he be murdering it. You know what I mean? And there's a group of violinists. What are they called? It's 3 women, and they be murdering shit with the on the strings. You know what I'm saying? They play cello, violin, and bass, and they different. You know what I'm saying? So one of the things that a group may be able to do that a band may not be able to do sometimes is sing. Not all bands have a really good singer. They may have a singer, but they may not have a really good vocalist. You know what I mean? Whereas a singing group normally has a lead singer that can challenge other groups or bands as far as the vocals are concerned. You understand what I'm saying? So you know, once again, both have their advantages and their disadvantages. But if you put up, what would you if you were to have if you had a battle of groups versus bands, who would you put up against who and say it was a good battle?
Oh shit, that's a great one. That's a great one. Ooh. Oh shit, I got one. I would put up LTD up against. Let me look at my list because I had wrote down my shit earlier. But I would put LTD up against I put LTD because I look as a band. I would put LTD
absolutely
against Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes.
But Harold Melvin and Blue Notes were a band too.
No, they was not. They didn't play any instruments.
They didn't play any instruments? None of them?
No, none of them play instruments.
Wow, that's a good battle. That's a good. Woo! I did not realize that none of them guys played. But Teddy Pendergrass played instruments.
No, he did not.
Maybe
when he went solo.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm about to say, wait a minute now.
He didn't play. But when he was with LTD, I mean, when he was with Harold Melvin Blue Notes, he ain't play no instruments.
No.
Hold
on.
He can play instruments, but they didn't play no instruments.
Hold on a second. Did Teddy Pendergrass ever play drums when he was with Harold Melvin in the Blue Notes? Yes, Teddy Pendergrass originally joined the group in 1970 as their drummer. He was discovered
as a drummer, but when he started singing,
wait a minute. It says as their drummer. He was discovered by Harold Melvin while playing drums for a local Philadelphia band and was hired as the percussionist for the Blue Notes. He played drums for the group until their lead singer, John Atkins, quit. Pendergrass then stepped out from behind the drums to sing, and his powerful baritone quickly transformed the group into soul music. So, that might have been a little bit before our time, you know what I mean? But I know I remember.
But that's what I was telling you. He did play drums, but when he didn't play drums when he started singing for him.
Okay.
He stepped from behind the drums. I knew that part.
Okay.
Yeah, but
so hold on. I mean, this is not about being right or wrong. So
I'm not trying to get number 7 on you, man.
Listen, I'm not, like I said, this is not about I'm trying to get it right. This is not about right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? So
that's what I'm saying. I'm just joking with you, but what I'm saying is that it's not a right or wrong thing.
Okay, but listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm asking you. If Harold Melvin in the Blue Notes just a group, but had a band, and that's what did they have a band aside that they included as their group, or were the band members along with the singers the Blue Notes, or were the Blue Notes only the singers? Do we know that?
The singer.
Are we sure?
I'm positive.
Okay, so if the Blue Notes were only the singer, when Teddy Pendergrass joined the Blue Notes, as it says, what was his role? Was he a Blue Note, or was he just part of the house band?
No, when he joined the Blue Notes, he was their drummer. So he was just part of the drummer of their backup drummer when they had the band on stage, when they had the band. But when they came on, when he left them as a drummer and he came to the forefront, it was just Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. When they go on tour as Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, if they don't really need a band. They can just sit back and just use the backup music.
But
when they do concerts, they use backup music unless the people order the band to promote it, can order a band for them.
All right.
Other than that, 9 out of 10, the Blue Notes is the backup singers, the other singers, not the backups, the other ones. Because Harold Melvin was the lead singer until Teddy came out. And if you listen to both Teddy and Harold Melvin, at some points in songs, they sound somewhat alike at some points.
I'm just trying to get this clear. Now, sometimes Google doesn't get everything exactly accurate. But what it says here is that he originally joined the group in 1970 as their drummer. So did their group include a drummer? And if the group included a drummer, did it include other instrumentalists as well? That's what we need to know. So let me Google that. Was Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes only singers, or did they have instrumental players also? Okay. Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes were primarily a vocal group, but they utilized professional backing bands for their recordings and live performances. Okay. So the core group, vocals. The group itself consisted entirely of singers. Okay, that's what I needed to know. This included founder Harold Melvin, the legendary lead singer Teddy Pendergrass, and other mainstays like Bernard Wilson, Lawrence Brown, and Lloyd Parks. The Philly sound on their famous albums produced by Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff on Philadelphia International Records label. The lush instrumentals backing their vocals were played by the legendary session band. Okay, I got you. So, okay. All right. So they were the core group were singers. That's what I wanted to make sure we got that established. And what's going on, Mark? Thanks for coming through. And thanks for the info. He said he played drums. Okay, cool. So you would do Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes versus LTD. You know what's messed up? I can't name another member of LTD besides Jeffrey Osborne. But
LTD.
But to his credit, or to my credit, before he went solo, I didn't know Jeffrey Osborne either from LTD. I just knew LTD. So I know who the other eight.
Osborne so much, son, because Jeffrey Osborne could have been what's the bull from the Temptations?
David Ruffin.
He could have honestly act like David Ruffin, because they could have called LTD Jeffrey Osborne and LTD, because majority of their hit songs, damn near all their hit songs came from Jeffrey Osborne, the lead vocal.
But did he write them? Did he write the songs?
Right. Even if he didn't write them, just like you said, you only know one person from LTD, and that's Jeffrey Osborne.
But I didn't know his name until he went solo. So with LTD, even without the vocals, they had groovy music. They had groovy sounds. Put your hands around me. You could play that. You know what I'm saying? That was a groovy. They had some heat. Now, Jeffrey Osborne definitely, like, I guess we need to know if Jeffrey Osborne wrote the songs for LTD. And we can settle that right now. We can find out if he really was the Lionel Richie of the group. Because what separate him from a David Ruffin was David Ruffin didn't write them songs. Wasn't allowed to.
Right.
He didn't write none of them.
Well, it's not. I don't think David Ruffin was looking at the part of him writing the songs. I think he was looking at the part of him being the lead vocals on some of the hit songs, on the main hit songs.
Well, he was on drugs and he was delusional. He was definitely a powerful, talented singer, and definitely the most talented singer in that group. But without writing your songs and all of that, you still handicapped. You know what I'm saying? You still need help. Unless you're gonna cover for the rest of your life.
No, I agree with the writing of the song, but when you hear a person sing the song, the person don't ask who wrote the song. They just hear David Ruffin singing. So his cockiness and his arrogance came from the fact that he sung on majority of the hits. That's why when he said to Otis, ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis, it's because Otis was a background singer, even though he started the group. He was one of the co-founders of the group. So at the end of the day, they're not looking at who wrote the song. They're looking at who's singing the song in the forefront.
Okay. But for our purposes, we're going deeper into that. And you also, like, when I say that he was on drugs and he was delusional, that was true. Because you had to come out and see the group in order to fall in love with them. Because they didn't have albums. They didn't have that. So you didn't know what they looked like until you went to see them. Motown didn't have albums. You understand what I'm saying? So I guess I don't know how you used to see what they look like. They made albums later on, But in the early days, it was all singles, no albums. Philadelphia International was the one who changed the game with the albums, and then Motown started getting albums. Like, oh shit, we gotta actually start working. You know what I mean? It was cheating. But hold on, let's see if Jeffrey Osborne wrote the songs for LTD. Let's see. Okay. Who wrote the songs for the group LTD? Wow. Okay. The songs for R&B and funk group LTD, Love, Togetherness, and Devotion, were written by a combination of outside hit songwriters and group's own members. The band's primary lead singer, Jeffrey Osborne, was a major contributor alongside the group's multi-instrumentalist and core member, Billy Osborne. See, he was probably related to Jeffrey Osborne, right? Okay, outside songwriters were also responsible for some of their biggest career-defining hits, such as Every Time I Turn Around, Back in Love Again, was written by the songwriting duo Zane Grey and Leon Ron Hanks. Love Ballad was written by renowned R&B songwriter Skip Scarborough. And Holding On When Love Is Gone, wow, was written by Jeffrey Osborne and Billy Osborne. Concentrate on You was written by Jeffrey Osborne and Billy Osborne. And Where Did We Go Wrong? Co-written by Jeffrey Osborne and soul songwriter Sam Dees. We're getting somewhere now. We're getting somewhere. Because one of the questions that I was going to ask is, when it comes to a band, who writes the songs? I'm thinking that one of the strengths of bands is that they write most of their songs. But as you can see, that's not always the case. So they may go in, go get an outside songwriter like LTD did, and like a lot of other groups did, or get production, arrangement, and composition by outside writers that may have contributed to the success of the group. So I was thinking earlier, just to repeat, that groups had songwriting on their side, where groups may have relied mostly on production, songwriting, and production from outside sources. Of course, plenty of musical groups have a songwriter, right there in the group, like let's say a Teddy Riley. And that's why sometimes the imbalance of power or the money distribution sometimes cripples the group. You understand what I'm saying? So now
for instance, what you just brought up with Teddy Riley is Teddy Riley, was the songwriter, he was the producer, and this, that, and other. And Aaron Hall, his at the time of his arrogance and the way he was acting, because he was pretty much the lead singer. Teddy Riley would do some singing. I mean, Spend the Night and the yups and all that shit and ad-libbing and everything.
I'm going to be long gone.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So I mean, at the end of the day, you stupid. Every time I hear you sing that song.
It's my hit, boy. Like Teddy showed anybody can do it. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, but Teddy, and the thing about it is that with Aaron Hall, Danton, is that the songwriter and the producer is the main component of what the group is about. Yes, you could be the best singer out there, but you ain't writing this right here, and you ain't producing it. And even if Aaron wrote it, Teddy is still a producer. He's the one laying the track out. He's the one making so their sound becomes their sound. You know what I mean? And then when people don't understand that and they allow their hair to overflow, like guys should have still been going on tour right now doing their old songs if it wasn't for the arrogance and and that type of the audacity of thinking that, no, I'm singing all these hits, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Well, Teddy in the background just talking low. Aaron, I'm writing the songs and I'm producing it. But I'm singing, I'm writing and producing.
Well, there's always going to be clashes of ego because you're talking about.
Yeah, and that's why with the question, we'll talk about, because you got your questions at the end of the show. We'll talk about that, answer them questions later. But yeah, about it. But that's why the bands are no longer here, because when you it's too many egos. Everybody wants to be a lead and nobody want to take the background and think that, everybody can't be choir boy. Everybody want to be Eddie Kane.
Well, I'm not so sure if that happened organically, the whole thing about groups. I'm not so sure it happened organically. You have to, if we're talking about R&B and especially hip hop, there's some things that started to evolve that were taken away that may influence, especially like in hip hop, to go solo. Like, remember, there were more groups in hip hop than soloists, because the DJ was the focal point. The rapper was actually secondary. The focal point of hip hop starting off was the DJs. What up? Yeah. What's up, Mr. Mrs. Grim Reaper? What's good? But Grim Ripper. So but yeah, so most hip hop groups that came out, it was because the DJ was the focal part of the group. So, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, Eric B and Rakim, Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince. So, and all of these in hip hop came from, house parties and jamming in the parks and performing at local venues, the YMCA and Wynn Ballroom and the what was that other place? Wagner's Ballroom, places like that. So once the house parties died out, now the DJ is not the focal point anymore. And the rappers started to emerge. And when they started making records, the rappers started becoming more popular than the DJ. And one of the reasons that the DJ started to become less and less popular is because the record companies kind of freeze the DJ out. Like what Sylvia Robinson did with Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. He wasn't able to produce any of his songs. They wanted a house band to do the music. There was no cutting and scratching on any of the songs on Sugar Hill. From any of the acts they they signed. Think about it. You never heard no scratching on no Treacherous 3 records, on no Crash Crew records, on no Funky 4+1 records, on Sugar Hill records. You never heard no scratching. So she got the DJ out of the way, because the DJ meant that you would be able to focus more on. He would get production credits, and she didn't want to give him that. And who's to say that other record companies didn't want to do the same thing? You understand what I mean? So, yeah. So without the house parties, without the without the underground scene concentrating more on DJs battling, it went more to MCs battling, or we don't even care if MCs battle. We want them to make a song. We want to hear the rapper. We don't really care about hearing the DJ. So so now no rap groups or even solo groups have a DJ. When all of them did. All of them did when hip hop was in its infancy in the 80s and the 90s. Well, mostly the 80s, because in the 90s, you start hearing about DJs less and less and less. And by the time we got to the 2000s, there wasn't no DJs. All DJs were producers now. Not that they weren't before, but they weren't the focal point. So I'm saying all of this to say that I'm not so sure that in hip hop there aren't any groups, because the industry found it to be cheaper to have soloists. Like, you don't need none of them. They came to see you. They want to hear you rhyme. They want to hear you kick it. Get rid of your tell you what, let your DJ be the show DJ. So you take them with them, take them with you on tour, but don't let them get none of your money. Hey, used to have to pay bands more because they were members and everybody had to eat. You get a soloist, we ain't got to give you but so much, and you'll be happy with what you get because you don't have nobody to distribute the money to. So and I'm not saying that's the way it happened, but it's something that we have to take into consideration as a possibility of why there aren't groups like there used to be. I don't know if it was all because of greed or selfishness or ego. I'm sure, all groups have that. All groups have that, and some have transcended it. Many didn't. Most of the male groups were able to transcend it. Most of the female groups, they couldn't get past it. You just couldn't get along. You have women, staying together too long enough, and their menstrual cycles all come on at the same time, and shit, it gets a little hairy. Hey, it's not even, that's just nature right there. Funny how that happens. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Mrs. Grim Ripper says, to answer the question for the night, honestly, I think the artist stopped trying to make music mean something like it did in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And with the industry changes like they are, and the record companies changing rules and taking artists' rights away, didn't help either. But the record industry has been taken away. They have been robbing artists since day one. That is not anything new. But they rob groups too. They rob bands too. So, greed coming from the industry has always been there, and it always will. It's a mainstay. So, now I'm not saying that you're wrong, but it's something we have to take into consideration. But okay, so I'm sorry I took so long on this. You said you would put LTD up against Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Who do you think would win? And in the comments, if y'all know who LTD is and Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, who would you say made the best records, had the greatest impact, or had the longest, the most longevity? Who would y'all say reigned victorious? If we put LTD versus Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, and y'all can you can put in the comments a group versus a band, and we can talk about that too. So this is a totally interactive show. So if you want to put your battle groups, it has to be a group of singers versus a group of instrumental band members. Okay, hold on. Okay, I think I gotta get somebody up out of here. Yeah. He got to go. He got to go. Oh.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
He got to go. Oh.
Yo, you on the wrong page. You need to go to some.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. You know what I mean? Hold on.
You're filthy. You're Wayne 6777. You need to go talk to God and your mother and father and ask them why did they bring you here.
Yeah, he go bye-bye. He go bye-bye. Okay, so all right. So who wins? Who do you think wins, Troy?
Who I think wins? Hello?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think I gotta go with Harmonize and the Blue Notes, man.
Okay.
I mean, they got the love songs, they got the ballads, and I just want to ask you a question, right? Do you add Teddy by himself too, or just him with Harmonize and the Blue Notes?
You can't add Teddy by himself. You can't do that.
Okay, well, I'll still go with Harmonize and the Blue Notes. Because I mean, if you really let's be funky, can you add Jeffrey Osborne by himself along with LTD?
No.
I mean, that would be a hell of a split, though.
Actually, no, because I think they lose if you add him by himself. His songs were better with LTD.
No, I'm saying that, but just the fact that you can split them apart and they still make great music separately anyway. But he would definitely lose to Teddy. You know what I mean? And even though LTD had that, the love ballad, back in the day was one of the greatest love songs for a wedding, which is true. Now remember, Teddy came back with a love song for a wedding. Greatest, and you're my greatest, and my latest, my greatest.
Listen, we not doing no solos. We're not doing that.
No, I'm just saying.
No, get that out of here. Get that out of here. You sidebarring.
I'm not doing. Sorry,
you sidebarring.
I'm not doing no solo. I'm not saying solo songs. They was mentioning LTD mentioned the wedding song, and I said that yes, but when you even go to. I'm taking Harmonize and the Blue Notes. Who you taking?
I'm taking LTD all day.
Okay.
And the reason that I'm taking LTD is because, I mean, it's kind of personal. At 6, 7, 8 years old, I'm listening to LTD records. I didn't listen to Harold Melvin and Blue Notes. You know what I'm saying? And it's not that I didn't know about them, but even as an adult, LTD, they have a special place in my heart. Like, I listen to LTD, like they catalog crazy. You know what I mean? Share My World. They got some heat. They got some serious heat. With it was like when like Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. You could say they were before my time, but you could also say LTD was before my time. But I did listen to them when I was very young. And I remember my grandmother coming from Milwaukee, to visit us. And what album did she have us buy? She wanted to hear that LTD. And I was like, oh. You know what I mean? Like, that made an impression on me. I was like, oh. Grandma, like, yeah, she rocked with that LTD. So, I would go with LTD, but that's not because I think that Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes is a bad choice. I just think that for my purposes, I think they had stronger songs overall. But Harold Melvin, and when I hear I Miss You, you know what I mean? Like,
and when you talk about impactful songs, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, Wake Up Everybody, Wake Up, beautiful song. That's an impactful song.
It is.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, some of the fast songs, Love I Lost, you know what I mean? I Don't Love You Anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Shit like that. I mean, you just
I Don't Love You Anymore. That was Harold Melvin?
No. That was Teddy. That's my fault. That's Teddy by himself. Wake Up, I Miss You. There's so many other songs, I just can't roll them off my head right now. But yeah, I always, my aunts was in love with Teddy, so I listened to a lot of Teddy. They played both of them, but they were just in love with Teddy Pendergrass.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, okay. All right, let's move. Let's move to another group. I'm going to pick this one. Let's do New Edition versus Tony. Let's have some fun. New Edition versus Tony. What we looking like, Troy? What we got? What we looking like, chat?
I'm taking New Edition all day.
You taking New Edition?
Yeah. Taking New Edition all day.
Okay.
You know, even though Tony had this shit, you know.
Tony got some strong shit. They got some strong shit. And Tony
Edition got strong shit and longevity to go along their side.
Okay.
And Tony, when they broke up, New Edition was still putting shit out, and they were hits.
When who broke up?
When Tony.
New Edition was broke up when Tony was doing their thing.
No, New Edition never broke up.
I mean, they did. They did break up. They just never formally announced that they broke up, but they broke up.
They had, when Tony had broke up, New Edition was still putting out hits. Hit Me All.
Okay, this is what I'll say. I will say that that New Edition had the 80s. I would say Tony had the 90s.
We can't say that though.
Okay.
Because the one with Bobby Brown came back to the group was a fucking killer.
That was only one album. That was only one album.
They had two albums. Even that one album, and they had two albums. They had two albums with Johnny Gill, and they had one album with Bobby Brown in the 90s.
No, they had one album in the 90s. The Any Heartbreak album was in the 80s. Came out in 88. The only album they had in the 90s was the home video, the home album. BBD came out in 1990. BBD came out in 1990. Johnny Gill came out in 90, 91. And so did they all came out like around 1990, 1991. But Bobby Brown was already Bobby Brown left the group in the 80s. He came out with his first album in 86, second album with My Prerogative, 88. New Edition had the 80s. Tony had the 90s. But let's do it. Now, I'm not saying that New Edition won't win, but the numbers may suggest otherwise. Tony sold a lot of records. They sold a lot of records, and if you think about it, Tony played scores in a lot of movies. like Tony, they had songs in Boys in the Hood, 1991. I believe in Poetic Justice too. I believe. But yeah, now I would say the reason that I put those two against each other, let me see what the chat is talking about. Seika Sala says New Edition wins. Miss Grim Ripper, she says, okay, Tony. I would pick, but I like both really. Hey, I ain't mad. You know we like both of them. But if they went head to head, a band versus a group, who's gonna come up out of it? Now it's a preference. It's a preference. But I think Tony could hang with New Edition. Vocally, absolutely. They wrote their own songs. They have that on their side. Nobody wrote for Tony. Nobody. Dwayne and go ahead.
I don't think that they vocally, I do not think they can hang with New Edition.
So you don't think
not with Johnny Gill.
That ain't I'm sorry. I don't accept Johnny Gill as the real New Edition. I'm not doing that.
You can't do that.
Hey, I can do it. I've never accepted him as the real New Edition. He ain't the original New Edition. They got more songs. They got more albums without him than with him.
But regardless, he's still part of the group.
All right.
Johnny Gill, Ricky Bell, and Ralph Tresvant.
Okay.
Even if that's just my opinion.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that right there alone. And I think Ricky Bell is one of the most underrated singers in R&B. I don't think that he get the props that he deserves. I don't.
Oh, and I agree. I agree with you on that. I like Ricky Bell, but Ricky Bell was not a strong singer. He's a good singer.
Tony only had one strong singer.
Which
Dwayne
one?
Wasn't a strong singer. Raphael Sadiq was the strong singer.
Okay.
Tone barely done.
Dwayne wrote most of the songs.
Regardless if he wrote the songs, he wasn't a strong singer. He got to sing. You can write all you want to.
Well, no, I'm not saying that he was a strong singer, but I felt like he could hang. He could hang as well as Ricky Bell. So
no, I don't think he can get with Ricky Bell.
Yeah, he could. He could.
Let me ask you a question.
He could do that.
We put Dwayne singing Whatever You Want against Smile Again.
It depends on who you ask. Now, when will I see you? Like both of those songs, I really like. I like When Will I See You Smile Again? That's like one of my favorite songs of all time. So I'm going to go with song wise. I'm going to go with When Will I See You Smile Again? Not because of Ricky Bell's vocals though, although I think he sung the song good. But yeah, I'm going to go with When Will I See You Smile Again?
But you gotta go with Ricky Bell vocals because he's the one singing the song.
Okay, I said I'm going with it. I said I'm going with When Will I See You Smile Again? Now I'm going with When Will I See You Smile Again? But I'm not. No, I didn't. I'm not saying without the vocals. I'm saying I don't consider Ricky Bell's vocals to be superior to Dwayne. I just don't. Now, if we go by those two songs, then yeah, I'm going to pick When Will I See You Smile Again. But I think overall, I'm not sure if Ricky would win. I think that Tony versus New Edition is a good battle because they both had a high impact on the industry. They both had mad crossover appeal. But I think that Tony may have had more crossover appeal than New Edition did. I really think that. You know, like white people knew Tony. They just did. Now, I'm not saying that they didn't know New Edition, but they started to discover New Edition a little bit later. They was on board with Tony most of the time that they were in effect. Now, the first time I ever heard a Tony song was like 88 with the Hey Little Walter thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And honestly, I was like, they okay. You know what I mean? But they got better. A whole lot better. You know, those Tony, catalog wise, they got some heat. I don't think that they have more songs or better songs than New Edition, but what they have on their side is they own those songs. They wrote those songs and they sang them songs. New Edition don't have no writing credits. They ain't write nothing. So the talent level has to go to Tony. Along with the instruments. Now,
talent level, we can get at the Tony, but I know my opinion is this, right? When you listen to the music, or when a female listening to the music, or when I'm listening to music, we don't sit back and listen to music like, who wrote that? No, you listen to the music because it was, and the music is the one is what affecting you. It's not who's writing it. You know what I'm saying? When you read in the credits, so when you're inquisitive to know that's when you want to know who wrote it. You know, so my opinion is that if we're going off of music alone, because you included the writing now.
If we talking about this is groups versus bands. You can't talk about a band. Wait a minute. You can't talk about a band without talking about what they do as a band. So you can't leave out writing.
But when you talk about a group versus band, we're not talking. I didn't know we was talking about who wrote the song or who produced the song or stuff like that. I thought it was basically lyrical content. That's all we hear is lyrical content. Don't nobody read the credits of who write anything. You just listen to the music.
This whole show, I've been talking about what groups can do that bands can't do.
What you're saying right now.
I've been saying it the whole show. From the beginning.
I'm giving my opinion of how I feel. I'm not talking about, I know what you're saying the whole show, but I'm giving an opinion of how I feel.
I'm not downplaying your opinion, but you said that now we're talking about writing. No, we've been talking about it the whole show. I'm not introducing anything new. From the time I turned this camera on, I've been talking about how bands play instruments and they often write their own songs, which is the advantage that they have over groups. I've been saying it the whole show. There has not been a segment of this show, not a minute of this show, that I have not focused on the fact.
My opinion is this, bro. My opinion just sticks with vocal content. I don't know who writes them. I don't have a problem with who writes what.
Then how can you have, if you only talking about vocal content, how can you have a band versus a band?
You're talking about the music. You're talking about the music. I'm talking about who sings the song better, what sounds better, what grips your heart better, what makes you think about your woman better, what makes you think about the family reunion better. I'm not talking about who wrote it. I don't care who wrote it or produced it. I care what the hell sound good.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
Okay. Well, I've always been concerned with who writes songs or whatever, because I like to know what the real talent is coming from. And like I said, if we're talking about groups versus bands, we cannot leave out certain aspects of what they do, like songwriting. We it can't be done. So if we talk, especially if we're talking about a versus, like what if we just going to talk about song versus song? There's no band versus song argument. You don't have a battle. You don't. What do you
have a battle?
Why?
You do.
Why?
You do have a battle.
Okay. Why do you have a battle? Okay.
No,
Let me ask you. Hold on. Why do you have a battle with bands? Listen, Troy.
You asked me.
Can you please? I'm not finished the question. I didn't ask you I didn't finish the question. You cut me off before I can finish. Just give me a second. I got this. If you're talking about bands versus groups, and all you're talking about is songs, then you might as well be having groups versus groups. There's no difference. If you're talking about bands versus groups, then you have to include the things that bands do that groups can't do. You have to include things that groups can do that bands can't do. Other than that, you might as well just be doing bands versus bands or groups versus groups. If you're just talking about songs. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I comprehend very well, bro.
Okay.
My opinion is that when you sit back and you talk about band versus group, you can dissect it. You can dissect everything from band versus group, but even without worrying about the songwriting content or the production, you can do that because you're talking about the horns, you're talking about the synthesizer, you're talking about the piano, you're talking about the guitar, you're talking about that aspect of the band.
You're not talking about that when you talk about a group, though.
Right, and with the group, you're talking about the vocals. And same thing.
But bands have vocals too.
Yeah, but
they do.
Son.
Yeah.
Bands have vocals. Yes, they do. But some of the vocals in the band are not as great as the vocals in the group. And the group has a lot more to do. Sometimes groups have a lot more to do because they don't have a band and their vocals are stronger and have to be stronger. Whereas though the band has a band to cover up some of the mishaps and the bullshit that goes with the vocals. Big difference.
So are you saying that?
What you say?
Are you saying that no bands have vocalists that are better than groups?
That's not what I said. I said some groups might not have, some groups' vocals might not be strong. I mean, some band vocals might not be strong as some in the groups. Some of them. I'm not saying all of them, some of them.
Okay, so I think
a band can cover that shit up.
So I think we have a conversation then. So we can do that. We can get into that. Groups, because I know of groups that have a lead singer and sometimes background singers that could challenge groups. I mean, if the band is if the lead singer in the band is strong enough, he could probably beat some of these groups' asses because just everybody in the group can't sing. You normally have the least, like you take SWV. Taj and Lily, Taj can sing a little bit. Lily can't sing. Coco is the lead singer for a reason. Same thing with Diana Ross and should I say the Supremes? Diana Ross ain't had no business being the lead singer in those Supremes. She can't sing. She don't have no strong vocals. There are plenty of groups where the background singers are Jodeci. You know what I mean? You wasn't getting no one half of the group was strong as shit. The other half, yeah, one is a rapper. Maybe he can clap his hands or some shit like that, and the other one produced the songs. So every group doesn't have strong vocalists. Some do. Very rarely do you have a group where all of the members of the group are strong. Everybody ain't like a In Vogue or Boys to Men. Shit. Who was the strong vocalist in TLC? I'm gonna give you an answer. Spoiler alert: none. None of them was strong. Don't mean you can't make good music. You know, you take a group like Drew Hill, where most of the singers in the group were really good singers. It ain't like that in a lot of groups. So you take a band, you take somebody like Steve Perry from Journey. Who gonna beat him? Who gonna beat him? You gonna have a long day. You're gonna have a long day. So if we having the groups versus bands argument, I'm not saying that the writing is gonna get you over, it's gonna get you to win, but it may be something that you take into consideration when you're deciding who is better between this one or that one. So you can still include it. You don't have to exclude, Yeah, I'm just saying, like, your choice is your choice. But we're not just gonna go song for song, because there's no reason to have a band versus group argument if you're just gonna go song for song. I just said
that if I'm going to follow your lead, but I'm just saying song for song, I just think that New Edition is better than Johnny.
Okay.
And they have longevity.
Okay. Okay. So if that's your choice, that's your choice. That might not be other people's choices. That's all I'm saying.
I didn't argue with other people's choice. I didn't argue with your choice. I didn't argue with your choice, man.
Wait a minute. Did I even give my choice?
Yes, you said Tony.
I said Tony would beat New Edition? I didn't say that.
You did.
Troy, that's not what I said.
The songwriting and the instruments.
Listen what I'm saying. New Edition is my favorite group of all time. I said that I think that Tony versus New Edition was a good battle because they both have advantages and disadvantages that people would take into consideration. So all I did was measure the strengths of one side versus the other side. I didn't do just song for song. I didn't do that. I was saying what advantages one group had. I mean, we just call them groups. One group had versus what the others didn't have. I say that Tony, what they had on their side is they had good production that they did themselves. They had good songwriting that they did themselves, and they had good vocals that I think could challenge New Edition. That's what I said. I never said Tony could win. I'm saying that I can see how other people might choose Tony. And I stand on that. New Edition is my favorite boy band besides Jackson 5 of all time. So yeah, I'm always gonna roll with New Edition. Now, but if in a band versus group argument, wait a minute. Just like I chose LTD over Harold Melvin in the Blue Notes, because that's my choice. As far as songs that I would actually listen to, that I have recorded, that I have on playlists and all of that, LTD wins. I think that they would. I won't say that. What I wouldn't say is that one has more depth than the other, because I think they both had that. But you know, a choice is a choice. So I would go with LTD, and I'm going with New Edition. However, I understand how somebody else might pick Tony. I get it. I totally get it. Like I said, New Edition had the 80s. Tony had the 90s. So while New Edition was 3 solo groups, 3 solo acts and BBD, Tony was rocking out with Anniversary and That's All I Ask of You and other songs. They was. I mean, you couldn't sleep on them. They was putting out some heat. Okay, with that, let's. Okay, wait. What we got? Trillis, Texas. So, do you wear eyeliner? No, goddamn it. How many times do I have to do this shit? I mean, what the fuck? I mean, I'm like, wait, no fucking eyeliner, man. I ain't no money. This is not a bitch ass nigga show. We don't do no shit like that. And yeah, my beard really gray. We don't fuck around. Okay. Anyway, all right. My dude, you and your feelings, you good? You all right?
What you say?
I said, you good?
I'm not in my feelings. I'm good.
All right.
I was going to ask you, did you need some blood pressure medicine? Because you was kind of hostile for a minute. I mean, you all right? You need a hug? Look, put your arms out, man. Put your arms out.
Listen, when people cut me off, you know what I mean? We have problems because I have to explain what I'm talking about.
I got my arms out. Put your arms out so people can see we cool.
No. Hug me without me hugging you back. That's how I know it's real. Okay. All right. Let's go to the next band versus group.
Somebody in the chat has said somebody. Force MDs and somebody else.
Okay. Force MD. Okay. Let me see. What we got?
Shake us out.
Force MDs versus Force MDs versus Full Force. Okay, let's do it. You know who I'm picking.
You know who I'm picking.
Yeah. I don't see no way. Honestly, I don't see no way Force MDs can win this. I'm just keeping it a buck. I don't see any way that Force MDs could beat Full Force. Because, and I'm going to say that because Force MDs didn't make it out of the 80s. They didn't make it. Unless y'all know something I don't know. You know what I mean? They didn't make it out of the 80s. Full Force made it.
No, they didn't. I was thinking Love is a House but no, that was an 88. 87 or 88. Love is a House.
They ain't make it out of the 80s, dog.
No, they didn't.
You know what I mean? They ain't make it out of the 80s. So they just don't. I like Force MDs, don't get me wrong. And I thought they were really good singers and all that. But that's actually a good battle. They both got Force in their names. They both had rappers, you know, but Force MDs were literally trying to be rappers. Like they had some identity problems.
Plus they had a bunch of people passing away in the group.
They were definitely the most unhealthy group out of the two.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But,
most definitely. The only way we can sit back and talk about Full Force was what's his name? I believe Lou. What's the other one name?
You had Be Fine. You talking about in Full Force?
Not Be Fine. The other one.
Paul Anthony.
Yeah, he the one. He wound up. He had cancer years ago.
Yeah, I think he beat it. Yeah,
he beat it.
Yeah.
That's the only one in the group that really. Them boys, when you look at them boys, you better clap at their concert. They look big enough to fuck you up if they see you not clapping in the audience.
Well, they look big in the 80s. They don't today. We were way smaller in the 80s. You know, once we actually grew up, they don't look that big. I've seen them in person. I remember one time I saw them at the train station at 30th Street Station. I saw a bow-legged Lou. I was like, yo, what's going on? I was like, 4-4. I'm like, y'all catching the train? Like, yeah, we catch the train sometime. And I
agree with you on 4-4s and the longevity. Even after they can still go back on stage and perform, but we gotta really dig deep into 4-4s. Now I'm gonna go to the part where you was talking about the songwriting. Now, when you go to songwriting, you can even take their songwriting away and think about what they did after the singing. These motherfuckers is deep. Don't be smiling. Don't be smiling. I see a little smirk on your face like, man, I don't want to talk about songwriting.
First of all, you cut me off while I'm telling my bow-legged Lou story in 30th Street. You just straight cut. Yeah, you just shut that down. Like, I don't want to hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I said.
Look, watch this. I'm sorry.
So they not that in person. They not that big. And I saw them when I was about 19. You know, in person, you know, they don't look that big. But when we was like 15, 16, yeah, they look giant because they had them Shams the Baron cut off shirts. But I asked him at the time, why Dr. Ice had went solo, why he left UTFO. And I remember he gave me some corny answer like, oh, he just wanted to go solo. He just, you know, he's still in the group. You know, he just wanted to, and I knew he was lying. You know what I mean? Later on, I found out that, you know, there was some publishing issues, you know, Kango Kid owned the rights to UTFO, the name and all that. I mean, he named the group in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So it makes sense. But Full Force, I think, wins in almost every category of talent versus Force MDs. With the exception of, I think Force MDs may have had more crooning ability.
What?
Crooning ability. You understand what I'm saying? If Force MDs would have stuck to the love songs, I think that they would have been stronger in that category than Full Force. All the other categories, I think Full Force got them beat. I think their production was better. Of course, they played instruments. I think their songwriting was way better. And they did their own. You know what I'm saying? So now one of the reasons that I always have to include songwriting is because when we're talking about the song itself, the lyrics come from songwriting. The feeling of the song, the depth of the song comes from songwriting. That's all songwriting. So it has to be taken into consideration. And that's what advantage most groups, most bands have on their side. They normally write songs. There's normally a songwriter in the group that writes the songs and the group plays the songs and sings the songs and that's how it go. So you look at like Nickelback. That's why a lot of these songs sound, I say they sound similar, but they say that's their signature sound. Cool with me. Okay, cool. Prince had it too. To me, a lot of Prince songs sound alike, but they say no, that's his signature style. I'm like, okay, say what you want. Same thing with Jam and Lewis, but yeah, I say Full Force wins. I think I don't think that it's close.
It's a landslide.
You think it's a landslide?
It's a landslide. It's the first George W. Bush and Mike Dukakis.
Oh shit! Oh!
It's a landslide.
Oh shit! Dukakis. Yeah, that was a landslide. But wait a minute, he didn't. Wait, Dukakis. I thought he went up against, what was it? Monroe. No.
He went up against the first Bush.
Oh, Dukakis went up against the first Bush?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm thinking about Reagan versus something Monroe. He was from Montana. The second Reagan.
He went up against Walter Mondale.
Mondale. I'm like, I knew it was something with a M. Walter Mondale. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So all right, let's do another band versus group. All right, you picked one. I picked one. The chat picked one. Then you go again, Troy.
All right, let me do. I'm gonna do. Shit, this ain't no hard one. I'm gonna try to come up with a difficult one. Let me see. You know what? I'm gonna do something different, man. Because I got 3 pages I wrote out. I thought we were just gonna be going back and forth, and Kim's was gonna be here. I hope everything's okay with her too. Let me see. Give me a second, son.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going Boys to Men. I'm going Boys to Men against. Let me see. I'm going Boys to Men against Guy.
Good luck. Good luck, Guy. I'm sorry.
And this is a great category for which you want the concept of the show to be, because both of them write songs.
No.
Yes. Yes, they do.
Okay.
Boys to Men first album. People don't know Boys to Men first album. They wrote their own songs.
Okay. No, what I'm saying, what I was saying no to, is that's not the concept of the show.
No, I'm just saying that's one of the concepts.
Okay, but you got to say that.
It's one of the concepts.
It's one of the elements. It's not the concept.
Wait. Yo, stop. You know what I meant. Come on,
no, man. I know what you said. You know what I mean?
Okay. You need me to be spot on. That's what you need me to do.
Now, what I need you to do is just follow the line. Like, I had to remind you that I've been talking about songwriting the whole show. So I need more proof that you get it. I need more proof. So let's just go ahead with the battle. Boys to Men wins, and it's not close. I don't think Guy has nothing. I don't think they can't hang. They don't have anything on their side to win. Like, they don't have enough catalog. They don't have enough. They don't have longevity. They don't have catalog. They don't have worldwide acclaim. They don't got it. I don't see how they can win. It's like an underground group versus a superstar. Like, okay, you might be able to dance better than Michael Jackson. Where your songs at? Who knows you? You might be able to play basketball better than Jordan, 1-on-1. You got rings? Are you on a team? What's your college record? Oh, you ain't been to college. And one league? Oh, okay. You understand what I'm saying? I don't see how Guy can. I like Guy, but I don't like Guy like that. Like, they all right. You know what I mean? They was a good band. I didn't, I guess for this for this exercise, they get to be a group. I mean, they get to be a band, but I always looked at them as a group. And Teddy Riley did all the music for real. But, okay, cool. Let me see.
Well, I agree 1,000, 10,000%. You know what I mean? There's no reason. There's nothing either to elaborate on.
All right, Tom said Earth, Wind, and Fire versus Boys II Men. That's a mismatch like a motherfucker. But Clay says, see, you can't do Funkadelic versus Earth, Wind, and Fire because they're both bands. This is band versus groups. So in order to qualify to be a group, in order to qualify to be a group, you have to have all singers. To qualify to be a band, you have to have people who play instruments. Oh my God, Jodeci versus Commodores, OJ. Okay, wait. No, OJ's. Okay. You know what? We can do that. OJ's versus the Commodores. God damn. Woo! Troy, I think we got ourselves a battle. That's woo! Oh, this shit. The camera's smoking. Woo!
That's lifting up the dumb, pushing the dumbbell up, and is weighing on both sides. You lifting it up.
The Commodores versus the OJs. 2 words. Lore and D. Lore and D.
1 word for me. Damn. Damn. Good one, Tom.
All right. It wasn't even their turn. It is now. It is now. All right. All right. Let's do it. Let's do it, y'all. Give me your attributes. Give me your votes. Let me know why y'all think one will win over the other. We got the OJs versus the Commodores. Who wins? Who wins, Troy?
Well, I got to see if I can break this down, right? Let me see. I'm gonna break it down with Commodores. If we talking about group wise and we talking about talent wise, Commodores wins hands down. Due to the fact that, the element of what we're talking about is songwriting and everything, and strong vocals. Now, I didn't hear this. I only heard the other than Lionel Richie singing a song, I only heard a different Commodore sing 2 songs. One was Brick House, and the other one was when Lionel Richie left the group, and that was Night Shift. Other than that, I didn't hear anybody else sing a song other than Lionel Richie. You know what I mean? But when you talk about vocal wise, I would have to give it to the OJs. Even fucking production wise and stage presence, I think is even. The Commodores had that spacesuit the same way Earth, Wind, and Fire had. When it was all wearing that spacesuit shit, them, Parliament, and all of them. But vocal wise, I would give it to. It's shit. I mean, gun to the head. Personally, a personal preference, and a personal thing would be the OJs. They're my fucking group. That's my group. But if somebody said the Commodores, I wouldn't sleep on that head.
Okay.
I yield.
I'm going with the OJs.
It's the strongest shit.
I'm going with the OJs. I gotta go with the OJs. I love the Commodores.
I love them too.
But the OJs, even though they didn't write their songs,
that's what I'm saying.
Gamble and Huff wrote the shit out of them songs. Them shits is fire. You know what I'm saying? Like the OJs, it ain't too many people that can fuck with the. When you talk about they catalog, you don't find many songs that you gonna skip. They was killing shit. They was killing shit.
Me and my woman, we cried together. God damn.
Now, the biggest challenge that I would have with the OJs versus the Commodores would be musically. And I think the OJs fucking kill them.
Yeah.
That feeling I get when I hear For the Love of Money, that burn. You listen to that shit in headphones, you be like, yo, what the fuck? It's like that shit is taking your eardrum and like, yo, what? Wait till you hear this shit. There.
Well, when you hear this part, as soon as you hear this part, your heart jump. I'm talking about shoot. As soon as you hear that shit, you're like, man, let me calm down. Let me get something to drink and chill.
They
tap my foot to this shit.
The intros to their songs was really next level.
Yeah.
So yeah, I gotta go with the OJs, but I do think that I could understand why somebody or why people in general might go with the Commodores, because when they had Lionel Richie, they was fucking shit up.
Yeah, but now I gotta use that word. They were phenomenal.
And not only that, but I don't know. I could feel what the OJs was doing. You know, I could really feel that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but I mean, Stairway to Heaven. You know what I mean, For the Love of Money. Shit, one of my favorite songs. Another one of my favorite songs is Loving You. When Gerald Levert says, "As long as I keep food on the table, long as I keep food on the table, long as I keep the bills paid, baby, long as I'm loving you, long as you loving me, everything gonna be all right."
Yeah, the OJs had
They say some shit to you. OJ shit to you that you don't even. They say shit today that if a young boy listen to old school music, like I said before, son, they can just say it to a girl and a girl would melt.
I just think they had more relatability in their song, because they had a certain social consciousness. And I don't mean social consciousness like on some black and white shit. Social consciousness also deals with community issues. And relationships are a community issue. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like when he's talking about backstabbers and shit like that, like I said, For the Love of Money, they had, you know what I'm saying? Like, they were saying some shit where you be like, yo, it's really like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's why I would have to go with the OJs. Let me see what y'all talking about. Backstabbers, Love Train, Alone. Yeah. So Clay, look like
You Are My Sunshine.
Clay said they define soul music. I can't argue with that. I can't argue with. So who you got, Tom? So if you put me on an island and I was stuck on an island with a woman, give me the OJs. Where's the OJs from? We Cry Together. Okay. All right.
Yeah, shut down. That's it. That's Cry Together is one of my alternate OJ songs. Alternate. I'm talking about, matter of fact, that's in my top 10 of favorite songs.
Okay.
Top 10.
All right. This is gonna be the last joint, and we're gonna get on about it here. Okay. It's my turn. How do I want to do this? How do I say goodbye? Okay. I'm gonna do. All right, I need a band. I need a band. What band do I want to do? I know the group that I want to do. What band do I want to do? I want to do... Damn, I want to keep the genre the same. Tell you what, I'm going to ask for y'all help. Oh, I got it. Damn. The SOS Band versus the Spinners. SOS Band versus the Spinners. What y'all got? SOS Band versus Spinners. Yeah. And let me tell you why I picked the Spinners. Spinners to me are the most underrated group, a soul group of all time. Them motherfuckers had so many aspects of music. They had soul, R&B, disco. Man, Sadie, you listen to the live version of Sadie, you be like, yo. Your mom be alive and you be feeling that shit like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo.
You be like, Mom, is your name Sadie?
He said, if there's a heaven up above, I know she's teaching niggas how to, God damn. Woo! Those Spinners, love don't love nobody. What did you say?
My favorite Spinner song is there's that fork in the road. Whenever you call me, I'll be there. Whenever you want me, I'll be there. Whenever you need me. That's my shit, boy.
I'll be. They had some heat. It's like motherfuckers keep passing over the Spinners. I'm like, how? How did you get there without passing them? Without crossing them?
Could it be on Falling in Love?
Spinners had some heat. SOS Band though.
They had heat. They had fire. Yeah, all that shit, bro.
Here's where I think SOS Band has a decent shot. They got hella songs too. And they music, like they intros. When Just Be Good to Me come on, that long ass intro that feel like somebody pushed you in the room, turned out the lights and turned the music up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like get in here. You gonna listen to this shit. Vroom, vroom, vroom. That Just Be Good to Me, Joe. That shit crazy. That shit crazy. SOS Band had some heat. They had some. Lord, do you still care? When she do the part, do you still care? Listen to my heartbeat. Boom, boom, boom. Like motherfucker. You know what I mean? Yo, SOS Band has some heat.
And they wrote their shit, I believe.
They definitely wrote their own songs, played their own music, and they was good. They was good. They knew how to. They knew where their skill set was, and they put that shit together. SOS Band got some shit. And
so who you picking?
Fuck. All right, hold on. Hold on. Fuck. God damn. Okay. I'm gonna do it like this. I'm gonna take my favorite song by both. My favorite song by the Spinners is "Love Don't Love Nobody," because I think that the lesson that they teaching in that song is just fucking. Whether you talking about your girl, whether you talking about your wife, whether you talking about your job, whether you talking about your friends, love don't love nobody. So when you get done wrong, even though you've done right, love don't love nobody. You got to learn. He said, "I've learned, baby, I've learned. Well. God damn it. You know what I mean? Make a nigga who don't drink go ahead and drink some liquor. Like, yo, pass me a shot, man. Pass me a motherfucker. If I
was a DJ, I would mix "Love Don't Love Nobody" with "Love TKO." They go perfect together.
But when I take the long version of "Just Be Good to Me" by SOS Band. And I'm like, because the music takes me on a ride. The vocals take me on a ride with "Love Don't Love Nobody," and the music takes me on. But the lyrics too. Like she's saying some shit. You know what I mean? She's saying some shit, and she's saying what a lot of women go through, but they don't want to admit it. You know what I mean?
When you hear "Love Don't Love Nobody," you hear emotion and tears. You hear somebody you're not around crying. Sometimes a girl, they come and go. Damn, as soon as she starts singing, you be like, "This motherfucker, shut up."
Every woman that ever been cheated on has had the experience a part of "Just Be Good to Me." And some men too, whether they accepted it or not, regardless of what they did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They had to accept a part of that song. Now, I'm not saying that they all, submitted to it, but at some point, when they knew their man was cheating on them, they had to make a decision. Am I going to accept this motherfucker cheating on me and shitting on me? Or am I going to let it slide because he handling his business? Okay, so I'm going to I'm gonna take the Spinners only because I'm not losing nothing. To be honest with you, I want to go with SOS Band, but I'm going to go.
SOS Band?
No, I'm going with the Spinners. I said because I'm not losing nothing. Ain't no money on the table or nothing like that, so I'll take the Spinners. But I have to say that I discovered the Spinners as an adult. I discovered SOS Band as a child. That's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Who you got?
Well, I'm taking the Spinners, man. I'm taking the Spinners. And my discovery was both. I discovered both of them at the same damn time. You know what I mean? Mom played my aunts, my mom, my sister. You know, and when I think of Just Be Good to Me, I always put them in side pieces songs. But that's one of them side piece songs. You know, new words of the day of this generation are side pieces. You know, I mean, and that can be an emotional song, but when you bring up "It Takes a Fool to Learn," that can be considered one of the emotional songs ever sung in our generation, in any generation. You know what I mean? That's one of the most emotional songs you can listen to when you're going through any type of breakup. You know what I mean? It'll bring some tears to your eyes if you listen to that shit. You'll bring some tears if you smoke. You'll be smoking, drinking, and listen to that song.
How about?
So I'll take the Spinners.
Okay. How about SOS Band? Baby, we can do it. Take our time, get it right. We can do it, baby. Do it too. Oh man! You ever hear the 12-inch single of that joint?
Yeah, that extension.
They beating you in the head with the triangle. Ding ding, ding ding ding, ding ding, ding ding. Yo.
So let me ask you a question. This is just a hypothetical. If you was to, what would you say if I said band on band and I said the SOS Band against Midnight Star?
SOS Band. Midnight Star don't have a catalog. They can't win. Now, if you said Atlantic Star, I'd have to hold up for a second. Like, wait.
Well, that'd be an even better one. Yeah, because they got the catalog.
Yeah, I was like, wait. What we doing this for? Yeah, we can do that we can save that for another day.
Yeah, because that right there alone, and they'd have had two different singers.
Atlantic Star did a lot more than people. Yeah, they one of them. That they like the Spinners to me. Like motherfuckers keep looking past them. They don't really realize, like, yo, you had to pass us to get where you was going. You ain't even know that was us. It was like they was wearing camo.
Yeah.
Girl, you are to me all that a woman should be, and I dedicate my love for always. That shit, god damn you, 1986. God damn you.
Go further back. When love calls, you better answer. Shit.
I'm just saying.
Don't fuck with them. Leave them alone.
Yeah.
And them two brothers, that was in a group, one passed away last year. One of the brothers passed away last year, but they was one hell of a songwriting team too.
Yeah, they definitely knew what they was doing. They definitely knew what they was doing.
Even when they changed vocals with different females, they still did great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, I agree with you, man. You know. Everybody in the chat. Yeah.
Wait.
Get all mouthy with me, and I'll get mouthy with him. He'll get loud. I'll stay calm.
No, we good.
But this is my brother. We do that.
We good. Hold on. Now, Clay said some shit. Clay said he could listen. He said he could listen to SOS Band for a 3-hour trip. That's strong. That's strong right there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Tom says, I can hear the SOS Band song Just Be Good to Me in my head as we talk right now. Says Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis wrote Just Be Good to Me. Did they? The fuck out of here. I didn't know that.
What?
That Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis wrote Just Be Good to Me. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, they did. Yeah, they wrote that.
Shit, they should have wrote more like that. You know what I mean?
Matter of fact, I gotta resurface that songwriting because I think Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis is the one that brought them out. They wrote majority. That was one of the first songwriting things they did. Wrote for them. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, SOS Band go back to the 70s.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, they
to
go
the late 70s, early 80s, right?
Yeah, late 70s. 78, 79. Yeah. With let me see when the group was actually founded, because you know they fuck around and go all the way back to the 60s. You know how that shit be going. What year was the SOS Band founded? 1977 in Atlanta, Georgia. They originally performed.
Tell your mother to eat a dick.
Okay, so they go back to 77. Okay, cool. All right, let's go to the poll question. What up, Jay Bush? What up? All right. Okay. Poll question is, why do you think that there are no more hip hop and R&B? Damn, I wrote R7B. That means I didn't press shift on the keyboard. All right. Why do you think that there are no more hip hop and R&B groups forming anymore like before? 23% said, and this is out of 30 votes, 23% said talent can't mesh like before. Like, in other words, a bunch of cats that want the mic can't, you know what I mean? They just can't do it. Yeah, all right. Yeah. 17% said selfishness and greed. The majority, which is 37%, said the industry no longer wants it. I am so glad that I'm surprised that that's people's answer, because that means that people know about music more than just what they hear on the radio or wherever they listen to music. Like, they understand, like, no, they're when you see something happening and it seems to happen all at once, something happened. You know what I mean? That shit, it wasn't even gradual. It was like, all right, we got a bunch of groups. All right, we don't have none. The fuck? Okay. All right. And 25% said artists think that they are better solo. Yeah. Some of them do. Yeah. Some of them do. All right.
Some of them do. Especially when that lead is the person that's the lead is getting all the press. You know what I mean? You see what happened with New Edition and Ralph was getting all the attention. Bobby was like, "No, I'm the one who started the group. I can sing too." So when he was doing concerts, he started extending his verse in Mr. Telephone Man.
He wanted to sing that motherfucker for a half an hour. Yo, hold on. Devereaux said you built like a probation officer. Yo, hey, you know what? You know why I can't be mad at that at all? Because number one, he not lying. When I read that, I looked at the shirt I'm wearing. This is a probation officer shirt. My piece could be the badge. You know what I mean? It could be the badge. And people for years, when I ain't had no beard, I only had a mustache. Motherfuckers was like, they really thought I was a cop. I'm walking past hustlers and all of that. I'm like, what y'all tensing up for?
Bravo.
Like, yo, man, we ain't doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck out of here. We running from the same force, but for different reasons. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's funny as shit. He said, you built like a, and they do sometimes be buff. I ain't fucking with you, Dad. I'm not fucking with you. I ain't even mad at that. I can't be mad at that. That's crazy as hell.
I'm telling you all. I'm telling you. No, maybe one day, I mean, whenever Kels come back, you redo this one so we can get her opinion on it, because I know she would like to be part of this, you know what I mean?
Hey, I mean, and look, Kim is all right. She gonna be all right. She gonna be all right. You know what I mean? Each show is recorded, just like each one is recorded. We can always go back and listen to shit. You know, it's all good. It's all good. All right, we gotta get on up out of here. We well into the 3 o'clock hours. Damn near 3:30. All right, let's go. All right, Troy. Thanks for coming through, my dude. I appreciate you as usual. You already know.
All right, boy. Much love to everybody in the chat. Be safe. Stay humble. Be blessed. You too, my brother. You know, much love and everything, man. I'll holler at you.
All right, man. Peace.
All right.
Okay. We have some birthday shout outs to do. Some people were born on this glorious May 29th, and they deserve to be acknowledged. So let's go about our business of acknowledging them and making them feel special because they are special, because they are special, because they are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They get number one out the box. Sheila Lewis, and also Dawn McCall, Steve Tennell, Safa Monira, Ruby Tiwa, Stacy Welker, Valerie Chirac, Marcus Mosiah Yisrael, Yolanda Williams, Ryan Walters, and last but not least, my auntie. No, she's not last but not least. My auntie Dorothy Gaines, happy birthday, auntie. And last but not least, my man, Andre Richardson. I want to say happy birthday to all of y'all. And I hope that today finds you all in good health, happiness, mind, body, soul, and spirit. And that goes out to each and every person out there born on this glorious May 29th, anywhere out there in the world. Worldwide, internationally, and universally. All of y'all go ahead and turn up. But don't turn up too loud. Just turn up loud enough so everybody can hear you. Rock out, rock on and do the damn, the rock out. Rock on and do the damn, rock out. Rock on and do the damn thing. You do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. You do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. Good things happen to those who wait. Great things happen to those who grind. Anything can happen to those who go for theirs. So go hard, go for yours, and remember, yo, the suckers fall like timber. Yo, it was like December, like Sagittarius time. Yo, hold up, Slime. We just talking about the music, so don't do it. Don't put all those things flowing like fluid, I tell you. Yo, I spell words and I make sure that I include nerds because they bring the information and the station that we have to stay at and roll out with. And at this particular time, the rhyme will be going on time like my man in the chat. I'm on to the next level. The devil can't mess around with me because you know I'm a rebel. I tell you what to go and do. Make sure tomorrow watch that battle rap. Who? T-Top got an event. I know my man Clay Biggers know what the hell that I meant. And I'm going to watch it. I'm going to check it on now. But am I going to spend the dough? I don't really know. Well, we going to see. And I'll be taking my seat right here. You know me. Yo, peace to all my day words. Peace to all my day ones, my everydays, and my brand news. I love y'all to death, resuscitate y'all, and love y'all right back to life. We will be back today, later on today, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for another Urban Therapy with Sun show. This is the Daily Go Getimism show, but the Urban Therapy with Sun show will be at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to be talking about some heat. We're going to be let me see. Hold on. I might know the title of the show. I might already know the subject. I might do. Let me see. Let me see. I don't know if y'all ready for this. My older cats might understand the strain that menopause can put on a relationship. Oh, that's more than likely that's what we're going to talk about today at 2 p.m. Make sure y'all come on through. I appreciate y'all coming through. Thanks for participating, staying up late. Y'all know how I go. I know it ain't easy. It ain't always easy. It ain't always easy. Oh, but yo, hit the like button, share the show, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, man. And y'all get some rest. And I see y'all either later on the day or, 2 o'clock on Sunday. Whatever you choose. What we gonna do? Peace, y'all. Love is love. One.